Live now to Canberra, the Minister for Agriculture and the Deputy Nationals Leader, Bridget McKenzie, joins me now. Thanks so much for your time, Senator. The government quietly extended the ban on live sheep exports to the Middle East yesterday. Why was that?
Yeah, Laura, we have to be clear on who extended the ban. This is a ban that industry called for, if you recall, in the wash of the Awassi issues, that horrific voyage which saw terrible animal welfare outcomes. Industry and the government took swift action to set up a range of systems and mechanisms to really clean the industry up and make sure we can get it back onto a sustainable and prosperous footing going forward. So they initiated a 3-month ban over summer, June, July, August, and the Department of Agriculture and Water Resources, as the independent regulator, has made a decision or handed down a decision yesterday to extend that to the 22nd of September.
So is this an acknowledgement from the industry and the department that the welfare of sheep in those hotter summer months going to the Middle East just can't be assured because you can't control the temperatures? And are we perhaps moving towards a permanent ban in those summer months?
Yeah, not at all, Laura, and I was just getting to that. So this is only for this year. There's a lot of work to be done on science, and it's not just the temperature, it's how we manage that risk during the voyage. There's a range of things we can do, and in my first few weeks as Agriculture Minister, I headed over to WA and met with live sheep exporters and heard of simple measures such as changing the stocking densities, making sure the stock can get access at will to water and food, making sure they've got more room around them to move throughout the voyage, had seen some really significant reduction in mortality rates, which is a positive step forward. So I think there's a lot we can do using science and technology on board ships, and we want to have a look at that during another process to look at next year's summer season.
But you're not quite there yet. There's a lot of work to do between now and the next season.
Yeah, we're going to go through a regulatory impact submission process where we'll be working with industry and indeed scientists. I want to make sure we're using robust evidence to make and base these decisions on so that we can make sure we've got a prosperous and sustainable trade going forward. We know live export employs over 10,000 Australians and is worth $1.7 billion to our economy, and we need to make sure that, yes, we're getting great animal welfare outcomes, but that we've got a profitable and sustainable trade going forward, and that means not just great product at the port of decision, but also making sure we're a reliable supplier.
OK, I want to step outside your portfolio for a moment, if you don't mind, Minister. The government will try and keep high-risk terrorists behind bars indefinitely. Who will determine that risk?
Well, we're bringing legislation forward to actually deepen, I think, and strengthen the compliance around those convicted of terrorist offences. And we don't make any apologies, Laura, for keeping Australians safe. So anybody who would seek to do our citizenry harm, our nation harm, who is already behind bars, we're taking strong action to make sure that they stay there.
Isn't this trying to circumvent the legal process, though? Is there no faith in the judiciary that these individuals are not getting long enough sentences?
No, I don't think it's about the judiciary at all. I think it's a recognition that we can't always have confidence that people, when they leave the prison system, if you like, are adequately rehabilitated, particularly when it comes to terrorist offences and the desire to do Australia and Australians harm.
Fair enough. We will wait to see Christian Porter introduce that legislation today. Now, also, you may have noticed, Labor is calling on the Breitbart editor, Rashim Kassam, to be denied a visa. They're calling him a career bigot. What do you think?
Well, until Labor raised this issue, I didn't know who this guy was. I'd never heard of him. But I know they're very exercised, that Conservatives around Australia are getting together, discussing their values, discussing how to be relevant and engaged in the 21st century. We have really strong pieces under our migration law to actually stop people coming in based on character assessments, and we haven't been afraid to use that in the past. But going to this particular conference, I know 3 of the guest speakers at this conference personally. John Anderson, the former Deputy Prime Minister and leader of the National Party, Jacinta Price, who I had afternoon tea with yesterday, a great friend and champion of conservative values and Indigenous Australians, and my Senate colleague Amanda Stoker. Now, each one of those are men and women of high character. So I think the conference should go ahead. I'd encourage your viewers to attend if they can. And I'm not afraid of free speech in this country.
Well, do you think Raheem Kassam shares those conservative values of those 3 individuals that you just mentioned, though?
Well, I wouldn't know, and this is the whole point. That's why the Immigration Minister checks visas and, you know, makes character assessments when and where he needs to, and I'm sure he will. We as a government have taken strong action when we've had a concern, but we champion free speech. We don't think it's a bad thing that people get together and discuss ideas. So, you know, I think we've got the mechanisms in place under the Migration Act.
Here. I wonder if this guy falls in the same category.
Well, if they're going to come, they have to obey our laws and be responsible. You know, I think there's a lot of people that come in who might not have been as public as he has with his views, that we don't necessarily agree with as a society either.
Just quickly before I let you go...
This is more about Conservatives gathering.
Yeah, sure.
That's what Labor's very much upset about. And I think it's a great thing, and I'd encourage more of it.
I just want to quickly ask you about Newstart, because Barnaby Joyce really shone a light on it in a way he only knows how to do this week. Do you think we might see that as a turning point and the government will eventually get there once the budget is back in surplus, which is pretty much now?
Look, we've been really clear that Newstart is difficult to live on. It's not actually meant to be something you're on for life. 99% of Australians on Newstart also have additional payments, and we are working incredibly hard to make sure people are on Newstart for as little period of time as possible, because it's not easy. And even in regional areas, we're taking that incredibly seriously with our focus on youth unemployment issues with regional hubs, the PATH program and the like. So we don't apologise for working hard to make Australia's economy strong so that our businesses can grow and prosper and hire more people. That's the whole point. And I think, you know, we have a very significant social security system. We have, you know, our pensioners, our Newstart recipients, our family tax benefit system, mean that Australians can be assured we do have a safety net.
Bridget McKenzie, appreciate your time. We'll see you very soon.
Anytime, Laura.